Yes. Yes is a not-for-profit company established to administer an incentive out of the DTIC. The purpose of that incentive is to reward organizations who create youth jobs with level ups on their B-BBEE scorecard. What's quite exciting though is that, this is where Yes started, but as time has gone by, we're starting to see far more adoption of other programs, and this YCC is a very good example, but there've been opportunities to integrate things like enterprise and supplier development into the initiatives. We're seeing organizations looking at making contributions out of their Section 18A donations. A lot of people forget that Yes is an NPO, MPC and PBO, and it does give you the opportunity to be able to claim your tax break through Yes and be able to look at funding other projects. We're seeing quite a lot of grant funding coming in now from the US and other international partners who are looking to create high impact social projects in South Africa, utilizing the Yes network and the Yes projects that are around there. So really, what is Yes looking to do? Yes is looking to tackle this challenge. I can't get a job without experience. I can't get experience without a job. One of the biggest challenges that we have as a country is this challenge of youth unemployment. And very much, I'm having this discussion at the moment with my own kids. My kids are 17 and 18 years old, and how do they get into the workforce? And if they don't have the ability to get social capital, the ability to learn from other partners, it becomes incredibly challenging to be able to build out the social capital that will allow them to participate in the market. We had some interesting insights from one of the US universities that actually came to South Africa, and they reckoned that if you hadn't found a job by 23 in the US, you were an anomaly if you didn't have some sort of social record. Whereas in South Africa, and this is why, if you look at the Yes definition of a youth, it's 18 through to 35, and you'll find that a lot of youth in the country actually get stuck in this experience trap. They get some sort of qualification, or they leave school, they get some sort of qualification, but then they try and break into the job market, and there's nobody there to give them a CV, a reference letter, anybody to just say, yes, I believe so-and-so should be given the opportunity to join the market and be able to get this valuable work experience. So really, this is what Yes is set out to do. It is to tackle this unemployment crisis through the provision of work experience. It's not a learnership, it's not an apprenticeship, it's not an internship. The purpose of it is really to give youth 12-month work experience. This is just a quick overview of the things that we're going to be discussing today. We've got a couple of elements. I'm going to really just give you an update on Yes, look at the impact to date, how you can get involved, the IP model, which is the implementation partner model. I'm going to then hand over to Jason to walk you through the work that they are doing in terms of the YCC offering. And then I'll be able to answer any of the questions that relate to the smartphone costings and calculations and some of the work that the Yes is doing in terms of its hubs. If you've got any questions, as always, let's keep it interactive as possible. So as I said, really, we talk about this 12-month quality work experience. Experience on a CV and reference letter triples the likelihood of a callback within 3 months of job search. Reference letter doubles the chances of employment opportunities for women. And I think that this is one of the things that we often forget. We often look at using Yes simply as a BE incentive. The impact that your 12-month work experience for these youth gives them the opportunity to break into the market. So really, I do try and encourage you, make sure that you provide references, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's making use of the Yes tools that are available to generate a CV and reference letter. You really do want to give these youth the opportunity to break into the market and be able to work, get an actual reference from their supervisor. In terms of sheer impact to date, 65,424 jobs have been created since inception. That's measured since 1st of January 2019. We've got over 1,600 programs currently running with over 3.7 billion rand in youth salaries in the market at the moment. What's quite exciting about that is you end up in not just having money concentrated in places like Gauteng and Cape Town, but also in broader areas. We've just done some very exciting projects in places like Richards Bay, where youth unemployment is sitting at well over 70%. Limpopo, we've been doing some interesting work with some of the social labor plans. And really what we're seeing and really enjoying at the moment is a number of organizations who are starting to look at Yes beyond simply the level up, but also saying, how do we go and support the local communities and be able to build out these businesses that we can go and work with. In terms of absorption, this is always a question that people ask us about. If you look at the legislation says 32 that you're required to do 2.5 to 5% absorption. Yes, monitors this on a rolling basis, and currently, yes, absorption rates sit at between 32 and 42% of youth find some form of absorption post their 12-month work experience. It is a rolling number, and obviously size of cohorts look at it. What's quite interesting, though, is that a number of these youth are actually looking to go and start out either side hustles or their own businesses. And remember, people often forget, if you look at that clarification statement created and issued in February 2020, opportunity to absorb into enterprise and supply development beneficiaries is a very real career path for these youth. Over 650 unique BBBEE level ups have been awarded, and there's over 17 million worth of learning minutes delivered on the YES smartphones. Just looking at some of the partners that have participated in YES, you basically look across all of the different industries. We've got the everything from pharmaceuticals, motive manufacturers, banks, a number of multinationals. They find YES a very powerful tool to be able to work with. And really what we like about this is that the YES model allows corporates to participate in a variety of different levels and go and build out from there. What else can we tell you about YES? Nice CEO testimonials. The YES initiative is one of the most hopeful, impactful, and necessary interventions in our country. We're proud to be partners with this powerful program. This is coming out of VW South Africa, who have been one of our regular supporters. They've come back for 3 programs, supported YES extensively since its inception. And really what we encourage when we hear quotes like this is the fact that we're able to work with partners who are looking to do this as an ongoing thing. You know, if those who look back at the YES history will always look at it as a kind of short-term BBBEE incentive. The reality is that YES is actually a longer term serving the market, and it's part of this ecosystem which is being put together to tackle youth unemployment. Kansani from Nedbank, while the youth unemployment stats in our country may be staggering and there are many challenges, YES reminds us that these challenges are not insurmountable. And I think there was a point I was trying to make before we kicked off, where we were just talking about the economic activity that's starting to come back. I think if you look over the last 18 months or so, there are a number of challenges that we face in South Africa. This youth unemployment crisis is massive, and individually we cannot achieve this. But if we're able to integrate a number of these different programs, we'll be able to go and build out a real solution to youth unemployment in the country. Basically, how do you get involved? So YES is a formula. As say, YES is part of the, it is legislated. It's part of the DTIC's BBBEE legislation. There's a target. And if you want to go and jump onto the YES website, there's a calculator to be able to walk you through the calculation. But in theory, it is 1.5% of 3-year average net profit over tax divided by 55,000, or 1.5% of headcount. YES gives you 3 options. 1, level up on your BBBEE scorecard, absorb 2.5 with 2.5% absorption. 1 level plus 3 bonus points, or 2 full levels up on your scorecard. Often the question that comes up is, YES serious that you're able to get 2 full levels on your scorecard in the first year of participation? Absolutely. It is being tested, it has been proven, and makes it one of the most powerful and best adopted BE incentives in the country at the moment. Basically, why do you want to get involved with YES? Firstly, bringing fresh new ideas and skills into your business, trying out youth cohorts and selecting the best fits. We've got a very good example actually of this. One of the multinational tech companies in South Africa is working very hard to introduce diversity and differently abled youth into their organization. And in many cases, they are not geared to do almost a screening and pre-review of these youth before they join the organization. So they've actually made use of the implementation partners who have been able to source youth, try them out in different working environments, and pick out the best of those for permanent absorption. And it's been one of the strategies that we're seeing is being adopted by a number of organizations, is to integrate differently abled youth through the implementation partner model. I'll talk you through a little bit of the contracting framework there just now, but really that is one of the exciting things that we are seeing is organizations are saying, we recognize there's talent out there. We really want to be able, we don't necessarily have the resources to go in and build them from the ground up, but if the implementation partners will take that early step with us, we'll be happy to work with them and find out ways that we can absorb them. Build and support SMMEs and entrepreneurs. If all the literature out there says that youth unemployment will be tackled through small businesses, the reality is that SMEs and enterprise development beneficiaries are a great way to be able to build out your businesses. And what we're seeing is whether you're looking at YCC, Blossom Care Solutions, a number of these technology partners like IT Varsity, we're seeing a number of entrepreneurs being built out in these environments where they are being given 12 months of work experience and then being able to move into their own small business as an ESD beneficiary. And what's great about that is you can start to build this golden thread that allows organizations to jump in and be able to build out these entrepreneurs of the future. Future capacity and taxpayers, it's often one of the sore points when we talk to corporates, is they do feel like they carry this burden of taxpayers. And I think that it's, it's a discussion that we have around the fireplace at dinners is the middle class being taxed out of existence, where the reality is that if we can build these small businesses, whether we can create new taxpayers, it ultimately broadens the taxpayer base. It's a proven collaboration with over 1,600 partners, and we're really excited by the types of programs that we're starting to evolve. As I say, when YES started out, it was very much viewed as a short-term incentive. It is now being built out to say, how do we go and integrate with multiple spend? We are currently looking at a project in the financial services sector where we've been able to look at collaboration between a number of different partners to say, not even looking at this from a BBBEE perspective, we're going to kind of put a number of our funds together and go and fund work experiences through the YES implementation partner model. So those kind of things, we're really excited, and we're hoping to be able to have more of those discussions as they go along. How does YES work? You can basically have the option of hosting the youth inside of your business. So in other words, they simply become employees inside your business, and you will be able to count them for your BBBEE recognition. Alternatively, you can host youth at the YES implementation partner model. So what Jason will talk to just now will be involve the YCC project, and that is where youth have been funded by Ford. What's nice about the implementation partner model is that the youth do not have to be on your payroll or even directly contracted by you. You are able to have a completely arm's length relationship. In terms of your contracting framework, you do need to have something that binds you to the implementation partner as the corporate funder, but you don't end up having to expand headcount, which is why the implementation partner model is very popular with a number of multinationals and corporates in South Africa. And then lastly, the opportunity to host youth at the hubs. Some of you have followed the YES Hub journey over the last 3 years. You'll be able to see youth that are hosted at places like the Saldanha Bay municipality, where we've seen the drone pilot program that's been incredibly popular. You'll have seen the Blossom Care Solutions. YCC is based out of our Alex Hub at the moment. So there are a number of different opportunities to go and support some of the existing YES infrastructure to be able to go and catalyze your existing YES implementations. Really, YES implementation partner model. So just to give you some context around this, YES has a mandate to monitor and evaluate candidates that participate in the YES BBBEE incentive. One of the challenges that we have is organizations that do not have the ability to host youth inside their own organization will look to go and say, can you find me a host that I'm able to work with and be able to go and work and ensure that they get what is known as a 12-month quality work experience, which will meet the requirements of the YES BBBEE legislation as envisaged by the various partners, including the DTIC, corporate funders, and the organized labor, sorry about that. And so effectively, YES went out and found 31 implementation partners across a number of different fields, including digital, health, finance, manufacturing, SMME development, conservation, and education. These partners are vetted on a number of fields, including things like financial stability, as well as their understanding of the BBBEE legislation and the ability to facilitate absorption at the end of the 12-month work experience. So a really important thing there, and it's a question that comes up very often, is if I go and place a youth into one of your YES implementation partner models, is there the opportunity to go and ensure that these youth are actually going to be absorbed? Part of the SLA agreement that these organizations sign with YES is the ability to go to facilitate absorption at the end of the program. And it's really important that you look forward, and when you're putting these programs together, is to look forward and say, I need to understand the absorption pathways that these youth will follow. I'm going to stop there for a moment and just allow a couple of questions, and while I catch my breath, as we've caught up some of the time, if you would like to ask any questions, I'm happy to answer them, and then I will transition to Jason's slides. Any questions that you'd like to ask? There is a question that's come through. Would it be possible to get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation and slideshow? Absolutely. We will be sharing that with all registered delegates, and we'll be working with you with some follow-ups. If some of you have already had some queries around how can they integrate or support the work that YCC is doing, absolutely, we will be doing some follow-ups with you and engaging around that. There will also be a full playback facility of this, which will be shared on the YES social media channels. So looking forward to engaging around that. Any other questions you'd like before I switch to the other presentation? There is a question here. Can our business apply to be a youth partner where YES youth can be placed? It is a regular question that comes up, so I'm going to address it in one go. The implementation partner model does allow for third-party hosts to be considered. Currently, there are 31 of them.
Morning, everyone. I think we can go. Welcome to Youth Content Collective. My name is Matsilane Mamabolo. I'm the program coordinator based primarily at the Alex Hub. And this is where most of our creatives, the bulk of them, are able to interact in person with the actual venue or space that represents YCC. The rest of the guys are across the country, but yeah, we'll get more into that as we go. The vision of the Youth Content Collective is to build young creatives, most of them township-based, some rural, others find themselves in businesses, central business districts across the country, but all young and entrepreneurial, but also very talented. We had an arduous process of trying to pick all of the best talent we could find for this collective. And the 50 that we have are all talented and all have potential to use that creative flair to grow sustainable and thriving businesses. The aim of the collective is for all of these members to then create fresh, authentic video, photography, and illustration work that we've identified a need for throughout the market. This is just some of the work by our creatives. As you can see, it's really across the board. We've got illustrations by Isaac Spielman, one of our collective members to the right of the screen. There's also the broad range that we can provide. As you can see with the Ford vehicle at the bottom of the screen, that was shot in the Eastern Cape. So our spread is really across the country. It's not just in the city. It's in rural communities, even in far-flung parts of the nation. So that's just some of the work. We're going to move on to the next slide. That's more work from our team. So as you can see, from the attention to detail and the amount of work that you can imagine goes into this, all of these young creatives really just needed an opportunity to show it. And we are helping them sell it forward and helping them make a living off of it. And I think that's an important role we should be playing. So that's just some of the work. YES oversees this program, the Youth Content Collective program. the success of YES itself is really something we can all be proud of, I think, as a country. There have been over 65,000 youth placed in jobs and work opportunities, 3.7 billion rands in salaries injected into communities. So there's a lot of great work being done by YES. Funders of the program, seed funding for YCC, Youth Content Collective, was received from Metropolitan Get Up. They've been great supporters of the program from the onset. And they are a new financial services company. So they see the market and the group that we're targeting, that we work with. So the young people that we work with form part of a broader community that they're trying to reach with their funeral products and so forth. We also enjoy support from Ford SA. They sponsor the salaries that we're paying every month for the next 12 months for all of the cohort members for this year as things stand. We also enjoy the support. This is just recently, we've signed on Canon as one of our supporters. YCC is only a few months old. So we needed support from beyond South Africa, and Canon offers a spread across the world. They are keen with the equipment that they've given us and all other support that we'll receive to make sure that the work that our collective members produce is able to reach other different parts of the world. They have a reach and an experience of the industry that we just don't have yet, and we'll acquire that, but now we enjoy their support in making us get there. So Kenan is a supporter of the program, and that's really useful. Thank you. I have with me here Dean. I don't know if Dean can go on, but maybe at a later point. Yeah, so we'll be delivering creative assets. I have Dean here with me, who's a collective member. He mostly Dean, you do video, right? No, photographs, stills.
Yes, yeah. I do photography. Mostly it was primarily based on automotive photography. So I shot cars a lot. So I think that's what put me on, because I also put a lot of effort into my craft until I got recognized, by YCC.
Jason, I don't know if you want to jump in and maybe just give some insight into what you're looking to achieve with YCC and some of the ask of what the clients are looking to, what you're asking from the clients.
Yeah, sure, Mark. Matt was presenting the top half of the preso, and I'm presenting the bottom half. So if you can get it back on screen, I'll just quickly talk through those exact issues.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I've just lost it seems like Zoom is having a very off day today.
Oh, sorry, no problem. Yeah. So basically, yeah, as Matt just said, while Mark gets the preso up, YCC is a collective of content creators, video, photo and illustration creators who are able to respond to brand and company briefs for creative material. And that was, the project obviously has a clear benefit to youth, but it also has a benefit to the South African marketing and communications industry. And the whole birth of YCC came out of a study that was done last year, where South African marketers said they have very limited access to local, authentic video and photo assets, and they would love a repository of those kind of assets, or a production studio of those assets, which could produce more fresh and authentic material. And that's exactly what we've done with YCC. So we open for briefs from anyone who's looking for fresh creative assets. The core building blocks of the program are obviously the talent, and the aspiration is to grow the program into literally in excess of 1,000 youth on the program within 3 years. As Matsalani said, our first cohort is 50 youth who are all in place now since the beginning of August. So that's the talent from around the country. And they were selected from our first batch of applicants was 798 applicants, and we selected 50 to go into cohort 1. We're now in the process, which is ongoing, obviously, of training and developing the content creators. Some of them are are actually quite skilled and advanced and experienced, have been at it for 3, 4, 5 years even. And others are just very talented in the raw sense, but still learning the technical side of their craft. And we're working with both the experienced and the less experienced members to become better at photography, videography, but also working with clients, the basics of business, working in field on a shoot, etc. And out of that, we make and sell creative material. And we do this against briefs, commission briefs, as I said, but we also monthly produce a battery of stock. So a whole inventory of stock images and stock videos, which we'll be marketing to the public or to the business community over time. And that'll start from later this year. Per the standard YES program, all of the youth on the program have been given a smartphone with the YES mobile-based learning and reporting apps. That was like an exciting day, the phone handover. And from that, they will get their interaction on the apps will, at the end of their 12-month period on the program, be able to generate from what they've done on the program an enhanced CV to what they have now and a reference letter. And of course, as Matalani also said, we have 12 stipends per member paid from August this year till July next year for each member to have as a retainer over and above what they earn in terms of revenue for work they sell on YCC. So apart from getting involved by actually briefing YCC on live projects that you may have, there's also the opportunity to support us at a socioeconomic development level. So for SED spend and resultant points. And there, because it's YCC isn't a separately registered NPO or PBO or NPC. So out of that SED spend, YES would be able to issue you with a Section 18A certificate for your contribution. On the enterprise side, so enterprise and supplier development, obviously these young people are essentially freelancers in and of themselves. And there we work with one of the key collective members to bill for projects that are for ESD spend. And that's obviously through a 100% Black-owned micro enterprise. So there you would, through Authentic Media SA, you would generate your ESD points for whatever financial commitment you make to YCC through that route. So there are 3 options to support us. The one is simply give us a brief. We'll respond with a quotation and we'll produce creative products for you. Or we're open to SED spend opportunities as well as ESD spend opportunities. So how does commissioning work? It's really simple. There's a standard briefing template and there's a little explainer video online at LinkedIn and Facebook, and we'll give you those addresses just now. So you submit the brief to us, and if it's a stills or video shoot, for instance, you say exactly the kind of stills and video footage you're trying to capture. We put the brief to the collective, so at the moment, all 50 members, and they put a sample response forward. On the basis of that, we shortlist at number 4 there, who's going to work on the project. We commission them to do that work. Off they go against the timeline that's been set, and they come back with the creative work, which we then supply in both high and low res via the YCC cloud server to clients. So it's lots of our members operate in a kind of a non-typical environment. It's very tough being a township-based young content creator. You don't have all the equipment you'd like, you don't have all the data you'd like, you don't necessarily have all the experience and support you'd like, but that's where YCC tries to fill the gap and makes the experience as seamless and professional as possible for the clients from whom we receive briefs. The next up, this is a very recently completed assignment, just to give you a sense of the kind of work being produced. Matt showed you some of the kind of freestyle work earlier on, but this is a photo essay we created during September of about 120 images, 150 images from the collective members, where the brief was iconic South African products in situ. So one of the packages available to corporates is to showcase your product if you are a product producing organization. in situ in real South African scenarios. So we did a test run of this just as a proactive project for ourselves in September, and came up with these and a whole lot of other very beautiful images of well-known South African products being used in very typically South African situations. This is a coffee table book, just a couple of pages excerpted from it. It's a photo essay for Ford, which was created as a coffee table book and a digital photo essay called Ford 100, 50 young photographers, 100 Ford images. And this was done during the month of August as a gift to Ford for their support and sponsorship of the program, where everybody is required, all members are required to produce images of Fords in situ again, young, old, vintage, contemporary, and it came out as a really beautiful photo essay that has been printed up into a pretty beautiful coffee table book. So that's just some samples of the work. YCC is the home of fresh, authentic, creative. It's creative potential and real opportunity, both for the members of YCC who have the creative potential and are given the commercial opportunity to monetize that, but also for the South African business community who are looking to create potential both for themselves, their brands, and the young people in YCC by giving us briefs and other support. At Youth Content Collective is the best place to go find us. LinkedIn has a B2B presence. There's a lot of work on Facebook. In the Youth Content Collective Facebook photo albums, you'll see a huge amount of particularly photographic work. Not so much of the video work is loaded up there. And then there's an Instagram channel as well, where you'll get a good sense of the work that we're up to on a weekly and monthly basis. And then all of those channels will give you access to Matsalani's address, which is ycc@tilt.co.za, and he is very happy to receive briefs from you. But also on those web destinations, you'll be able to watch the explainer video of how to produce a brief, how to submit it to us, and also the email address is widely available on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on Instagram. So yeah, that's what we do at YCC. Super exciting stuff since the beginning of August, but already we've built up a lot of traction, produced literally already thousands of images for clients, and excited about producing many, many more videos, illustrations, and images for other South African and, as Matt said, international brands and companies.
Thanks, Jason. I think that's great. I think it really does give people an insight into how they can partner with YES. And I think this is really important, this element of the work experience and the ability to actually get practical, be able to show somebody. I showed that Ford booklet to a couple of people, and they just said, this is really cool. It is something tangible that can be shown to a particular client. I'm always encouraging, as our clients are starting to join up now, we're always encouraging them to see if they'll also support YCC. They've done some nice little kind of posters or artistic impressions as to the youth and their participation. So something like that's a really cool thing. Small businesses really need these small orders to really just give them a sense that they are actually tangible businesses and that they've got a proof of execution. So I really do encourage you, when you start looking at your YES implementations, to see how you can go and do this. As Jason said, there are a couple of ways that you can do it, either for the Section 18 certificate, we can do socioeconomic development, enterprise and supplier development. And I really want you to start looking at YES from a long-term, how do we make this a sustainable long-term program that we can do? We want to take this from 50 creators all the way up to 500 creators by the end of the year. So really encouraging you to look at this as a project that you're able to partner with. I'm going to field, I see there are a couple of questions that are coming through. I'm going to try and field a couple of them, and where possible, I'll bring in the YCC team to be able to address this. Let's have a look at the first question that's come through. I think we were partially answering this one before we ran into a technical glitch. Can a business apply to be a youth partner where YES Youth can be placed? So the answer to that is you would need to go through the implementation partner model. There is currently, if you follow the YES social media channels at the moment, you can go and apply for this. There is often a misconception that YES simply puts youth into unvetted third-party hosts. You will need to be vetted from a financial stability perspective. That will be things like your multi-year financial statements, compliance and governance, understanding the BBBEE legislation, etc. So be aware of that. But if you follow the YES social media channels, you will see that they are opening up for the inclusion of implementation partners, looking at a variety of different industries, and we're looking forward to being able to partner and build out projects on this. Has the government looked at relaxing some of the measures, like insisting on previous turnover, headcount, even though COVID disrupted all of that and adjustments were necessary? This is also the reason we dropped out last year. So the answer to that is yes, is a formula. To change the formula would require a change of legislation. So the answer to that is the legislation is unlikely to change. Having said that, we have found that the DTIC has been prepared to look at concessions for late starts on programs. We've had organizations that skipped a year and returned the following year. We do need to be aware that, say YES is a piece of legislation that can't simply be changed at the whim of YES or any of its employees. It does need to continue to comply with a piece of legislation. Having said that, the DTIC has there are ability to be able to go and look at the reasons for concessions. It is covered there in the practice note. But we're always happy to go and look how we can build out these projects. We have done an equity equivalent investment program with YES. We've done programs not for BEE recognition. We've integrated ESD into the programs. So by all means, happy to work with you, but we do need to work within the legislative framework that is there. Matsalane, there's a question here. How can we get access to the YCC first cohort illustrations since we're in the creative industry? I'm interpreting that to be, how do we get ourselves onto the list of where, if additional funders come through for YCC, how do people register their interest in terms of becoming a potential YCC member? I don't know if you want to answer that.
Yeah, so they want membership as a company or as a collective individual member, like
my interpretation of the question is as an individual looking to join YCC.
Yeah, so the way to join YCC is by applying. So the current members of the cohort had an opportunity to apply in the month of June, thereabout. That's when we received the over 700 applications. We're going to have the same drive next year. So June next year, we'll make a call on our social media platforms and all other media to try and get the best talent again enrolled onto the program.
Awesome, thanks. I think that's really important. And I think what's great about this is already people are saying, how do we go and invest for the long term? So I'm excited about that. So really looking forward to working with organizations for it. And remember, the ability to go and invest in these programs means that you can end up starting to build that golden thread that goes into multi-years. Can a measured entity participant in the YES program and can a measured entity participant in the YES program and be an SED contributor? Is this accepted by verification agencies? So remember, the answer to that is yes, you can. Your contracting relationship would be as follows. You would have your YES registration. So your youth would be registered as you would be uploaded into the YES BBBEE under that corporate funder or measured entity. You would then be able to brief, a separate corporate funder would be briefing in things like the briefs that would ultimately then be fulfilled. So remember, you're dealing with two different measured entities there. The measured entity funding the YES youth salaries, but the SED contribution going via YCC or TILT. I hope that answers that question. Any other questions that you'd like us to address?
Mark, while maybe more questions are coming up, we've got Grace and Dean with us. Can I ask Grace to just, rather than Match and I belting on about the YCC program, which we kind of live day in and day out, maybe Grace can tell us a little bit about her experience of YCC. And then after that, I just want to tell the participants on the webinar that we do have a competition for them whereby they can win a piece of YCC work. So yeah, if there's more questions coming in, we're all happy to answer them, but maybe Grace can chip in for a bit now, and then I'll tell you very briefly about how the participants on the call can win.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch on the competition, but absolutely. Grace, I'd love to hand over to you to share your experience.
Hello. My experience with the YCC has been really great. It has been a learning curve. As a photographer, I used to struggle a lot with approaching people to take pictures of them and create my own content. But ever since I've been receiving briefs from YCC, I've just been able to take the brief as it is and then to sort of go to people and ask for help and create the content that is required. Also, it has helped me a lot with independence, because with the retainer that you get, you're able to buy yourself equipment that you need. Also, just to travel to locations for shoots and just to be able to execute from with financial help. So that is really something that has helped me. It has also helped me just become more confident in my craft more than anything. So it has really been a great experience so far.
Excellent. Thanks, Grace. And I think that is such an important thing. You know, we speak about the kind of the social capital that comes through with the work experience. You know, what we take for granted in terms of our ability to break into the workforce, that ability to actually get work experience and try out things and learn and fail and improve is such a critical aspect to this. So absolutely. Thank you, Grace. I appreciate it. Dean, do you want to jump in and add something from your side?
Hello everyone. I'm Dean, and also a participant in the YCC program. I think, as I've said, I've grown so much from the program. In all honesty, I feel very, very, very lucky that my work was selected out of 700 other people that applied for this. You know, so I feel very, very proud to be in this program. And I mean, I've grown so much from this short period of time that we've shared. I mean, with the stipend that helps me out, because I was unemployed before this, and I was literally living off photo shoots at clubs and all of that. But with this program now, it has also taught me how to manage my money, you know, because with the stipend, I get to have a budget for models, props, camera rental, transportation, data, all those costs, you know, and that is very, very helpful in terms of me reaching my future goals in this program, which are to grow as a content creator and to also become a freelancer and a content entrepreneur in the future. So yeah, I also enjoy the challenges that they give us every month in terms of shooting stock images or tackling the briefs out and all of that. So yeah, I enjoy that, and it helps me grow my scope of work as well, because you don't only do photography, you also learn about what other people do in video and all of that, and just trying to fuse the two and seeing where I find my balance in those. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that reference to a content entrepreneur. I think it really is kind of the essence of what YCC is trying to achieve in terms of actually, you're not trying to create an employee in the long run. You're ultimately trying to create a small business and somebody who's able to take the skills that they've achieved and be able to take it into the broader market. We got a couple more questions, but I'm just cognizant of time. Jason, do you want to jump in and quickly explain our competition to them for the opportunity to for their participation?
Yeah, sure. There is, as I said, a very big battery of photographic work on the Facebook photo albums for Youth Content Collective. And what we're going to do is randomly draw one of the participants from today's webinar, and that participant will be, Mark will share the Facebook link, but that lucky participant will be able to pick an image off of that gallery, and we will then print that up on canvas and deliver it to you. So rather than us randomly selecting an image, printing it, and then you don't particularly like it, you can select an image. The winner will be able to select an image from for themselves, and we'll print that up as an A2 canvas print and have it delivered to them courtesy of YCC. Yeah, and just to say, not every image on the actually, we'll chat to the winner about that. Just to say, not every image on the Facebook library is large enough for physically printing at that size. So you may have to pick 2 or 3 images, and from that, we'll pick the one that's in the highest resolution to print up on your canvas. But that's details we can get into once the winner is randomly selected. So yeah, excited about making a piece of YCC artwork available to one of the participants on today's webinar.
Thanks, Jason. As I say, I'll be happy to engage. I've already had, I see 2, I've got an email and a direct message here asking how we can get in touch to explore SED contributions. For the purposes of this, you can just drop me an email. It's nice and easy. It's mark, M-A-R-C, @yesforyouth.coza. I'll then just connect you up with the relevant people from the YCC team. Their contact details are on the slide that is currently being shared. Jason has posted, if you're looking for to do briefs, you can see YCC at tilt.coza for briefs as well. Happy to work with you on that. We've just got the last couple of questions. For clarity, we had 13 yes candidates out of 15 as per the targets, but we could not afford to have the additional 2 before the term and asked if we could receive a concession and grant us full participation without the 2 considering a 50% drop in turnover, but the answer was no. We do respect the legislation, but we think in cases like that, there should be a discount on a case-by-case basis, but this was not the question, hence the question earlier. Again, and I'm happy to take specific instances offline, but remembering that YES is one of those incentives where effectively you have upfront recognition or flexibility in your first year of participation. It is not like a learnership where you would get partial recognition or recognition for absorption. The answer there relates specifically, you are given a target to achieve either 1 level up, 1 level plus 3 bonus points, or 2 full levels. There is no partial recognition in terms of, yes, we are engaging around a couple of things around policy with the DTIC, but the reality is legislation is legislation. We can't kind of do things based on individual programs. There are some concessions that are offered, particularly for late starting, but the reality is that we have to comply with the legislation in the format that it is currently there. I'm just also going to post my email address in the chat function if any of you would like to get in touch with me, and I will be happy to share with you. There will be the opportunity to push out some additional content related to this, and we'll obviously be giving you updates related to the YCC, but also to YES and some of its other projects. I am cognizant that we are running to the end of our time here, so I'm happy to just give another 2 minutes for any specific questions that you might have. After that, I'll be happy to take any of these discussions offline. As said, really our intent around these webinars is to make them an interactive and the start of a discussion rather than just simply yes talking at you. These are the kind of projects we really want to explore and be able to scale up. As I said, I don't want to do 50 YCC youth next year. I want to see 500 or 5,000 new creators in the market, and we really want to work with you to be able to build this out. So I'm going to just give you a moment to just finalize any last questions. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up the session and we look forward to finalizing with you. There don't seem to be any further questions that have come through. So hopefully we've been able to give you some insight into one of these really exciting programs. For those who were with us earlier when we were experiencing our technical difficulties, we do appreciate your understanding. Even the best laid plans occasionally go awry. So thank you very much for your patience and understanding, but also just thank you very much for investing your time in this session. It is really appreciated. We believe that we've got some very exciting projects in the woodwork. We do have a new CEO joining us in the 2nd of November, and we will hopefully have the opportunity to introduce him to you in terms of some of the work that he's done in the past, and also some of his vision that he'll be sharing around YES going forward. So really looking forward to it. Just a question that's come through. Will we be able to have a link to a recording of this webinar? Absolutely. It is right. I'm going to be circulating after this webinar and will be sharing with all participants. So if you were registered, if there are any questions that you want to take offline, happy to do it. It is always appreciated that you guys have given us a full hour of your busy days. On behalf of YES and YCC, I'd like to say thank you for your time, and we look forward to engaging with you on our next webinar. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thanks so much, everyone.